Well, good morning. Welcome to the first pediatric faculty meeting of 2017. Trust that there will probably be others joining us. As is our custom, we'll start with a moment for whatever kind of quiet reflection suits you. Okay, you should have received minutes in email. Are there any comments, corrections, additions to the minutes from our past meeting? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Dr. Ali, second. Dr. Munson, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Sorry? That's probably the most entertaining thing you'll see this morning, so don't complain. We'll start with kudos. We have been approved as an NICHD satellite site for clinical research as part of the Neonatal Research Network, which is a big deal. So congratulations to all the NICU staff and Michelle in particular. This is what kind of like the COG equivalent for NICU is my understanding. That's good. Kind of a collaborative research network, which is how we move forward much more quickly than doing things as individual institutions. Doctors Dennis Stevens, David Munson, Akram Khan have published a paper, The Single Family Room Neonatal Intensive Care Environment in Neo Reviews in December. Dr. Chatterjee and some of her colleagues published an article, Strategies for Prevention of Methicillin-Resistant Staph aureus, MRSA, Infections and Decolonization in South Dakota Medicine, also in December. Dr. Ann Wilson and colleagues published an article entitled State of South Dakota's Child in 2016, also in South Dakota Medicine, or will be published in January this month. Dr. Laura Davis-Keppen and colleagues published an article entitled Early Hearing Loss Detection and Intervention in South Dakota Medicine, also this month. Doctors Megan Lansvert, Sean Pitt-Mosier, Susie Reuter, Angela Myers, Jill Weimer, Kyle Rue and colleagues have an article entitled Nonsense Pathologic Variants in Exon 1 of FOX2B Lead to Translational Reinitiation in Congenital Central Hypoventilation Syndrome, accepted for publication in the American Journal of Medical Genetics. Congratulations to Dr. Nina Bishop and her family on the birth of Nessa. Is it Nessa or Nisa? Nessa. Since it's Nina, I thought it might be Nisa. 6 pounds, 11 ounces, and 19 and a half inches long. I don't know what her APGARs were. Dr. Julie Johnson is stepping down as Chief of Physical Medicine and Rehab. Dr. Kate Sigford will be taking her place as the Division Chief. Dr. Sita Paudel passed Pediatric Neurology Boards. Dr. Ahmed Jain passed Pediatric Pulmonology Boards. Dr. Chatterjee passed the Maintenance of Certification General Pediatrics Board. And our pediatric residency has a 100% general pediatric board exam pass rate this year and over the past 3 years. Dr. Zenel, congratulations. That is huge. Dr. Jada Ingalls has matched into the Texas Children's Child Abuse Fellowship Program. Dr. Ala Al-Nofel has been accepted to the MBA program at the University of Sioux Falls and will be starting in January. That's interesting. Dr. Shelley Bulatow and Aaron Schroeder have been appointed as clinical instructors. Dr. Michael Coretta has been appointed as an assistant professor. Dr. Terry Lang is retiring after 38 years of service to the Sioux Falls community and medical school. There is ongoing LCME self-study. Doctors Chatterjee, Reuter, and myself presented at career counseling in pediatrics to Pillar 1 students in Vermilion last week. That was actually fairly well attended. There were a lot of good questions. I think there was some interest generated in pediatrics. High stakes OSCE will be held January 30th, 31st, and February 1st. Examiners and note graders are needed. If you're interested, please, the email address is there, as is the phone number. Faculty evaluations have begun. Please schedule appointments with your division chief. If you are a division chief, schedule appointments with your colleagues. Next up, medical students. There she is.
So, few things just to kind of bring you to speed with where our current Pillar 2 students are at. They're in something called student-centered learning, which is approximately 6 weeks where they're either continuing LIC or they're choosing to do mini blocks. So you may see some of them come through your services. Betty is in the middle of scheduling. She's doing Pillar 3 right now because they will start sooner than our next Pillar 2. So hopefully you'll be seeing those schedules soon. Pillar 2 students, or the LIC, they won't actually come to you until April. So we're scheduling it now, but be on the lookout for them coming around in April. You may have received several emails from Betty via Dr. Mark Beard. There is a course called Physical Diagnosis, and it's happening in February the 13th through the 17th. The goal of this was to put students into clinical settings and allow them to examine and basically do an H&P, and to have the attending provide feedback. We need to find approximately 40 spots. And Betty, where are we at the moment?
We have 16 at Sanford and only 5 in Avera.
So we're trying to keep Avera and Sanford students separated on their respective campuses. And it's 6, basically we need quite a bit more. That's the gist of it. So if anyone would be willing to take a student, and whether you're in the NICU, PICU is probably a little bit more difficult, but also in clinic settings, to take a student to observe them doing their history and physical and then provide them with feedback, it would be appreciated.
I'd like to add that we are at 16 in Sanford and 1
So like I said, LIC for the next round will be beginning in April. The big change, so currently how our longitudinal integrated curriculum works is they spend 2 half-days a month with an outpatient pediatrician and 1 half-day a month with a subspecialist. In this next round, it will be, yes, Dr. Bach, that's it. The next round will be 2 half-days in outpatient clinic, and we got an extra day, so 2 half-days with a subspecialist. So yay, we got more peds time, still not where we want, but it's more. And the goal is to get, the students have requested more exposure to subspecialists. So at least this year, maybe in the future we can change it, but this year they will spend half of the LIC, say, in cardiology, and then switch and spend the other half in hem-onc. Going forward, we would love it if you could have that continuity all through the LIC, but from a scheduling standpoint this year it's just not possible to make it where they would spend the entire time with Dr. Maher and the entire time with Dr. Adamak for their LIC. But the good news is we have 1 extra half-day of peds a month, which we didn't have before. And then student-centered learning will be shorter next January, only 4 weeks. Heads up, there's a PEDS interest group coming next month. It'll be over at the medical school February 9th at 5 p.m. This may be more of a meet and greet for the incoming Pillar 2 students, but please come if you're available. And just a plug, to try and improve the exposure that our students get, they don't have a whole lot of time on inpatient peds. They literally have 1 week. And they don't get exposed to as much as possible. So the Thursday of the mini block week, we're going to go over to the Perry Center and do simulations. The cases that we have are fairly straightforward, but for basically a third-year medical student, the goal would be for them to function as the physician. So asthma, dehydration, bronchiolitis, and anaphylaxis are the cases with debriefing and didactics to follow. If anyone is interested in being part of that debriefing and teaching, I would very much appreciate it, and just let me know. And then, again, heads up, coming more towards graduation, but for our graduating seniors, which we have a fair number that are going into pediatrics, we'll be doing a boot camp for them. This is separate from what the residency does, just because of timing, trying to capture our graduating students before they head off into residency. Any questions with that? Yeah.
So why do the students say they want more subspecialty time? It seems to me at that level they should be focusing on general peds and more basic skills. Because, I mean, when students come to us, they're going to see some really rare disorders, and we do things that are different than anyone else does. Why is that? I mean, are they looking to fellowships already in medical?
I don't think it's necessarily fellowships. Honestly, Dr. Maher, I don't know that I have a great answer for why students want more subspecialty time, other than I think that they enjoy the excitement and the exposure, and the interesting pathology. I think a lot of the comments I hear about outpatient clinic is it's a whole lot of well child checks, and this time of year, cough, cold, congestion. But I don't disagree that is the bread and butter pediatrics. Dr. Reuter?
I completely agree with you. I think that students want pathology, and I think that they want a lot more inpatient time too, but they're not going to get it in Pillar 2, because that's Dr. Beard's Office of Med Ed really wants to focus on outpatient during that Pillar 2, and reserve Pillar 3, which is 16, 17 months long, use that for inpatient time. Students can do sub-I, all types of inpatient rotations, but that's what they want. They want to see new stuff.
My point, though, is that you get a medical student who doesn't really have a handle on what's normal there. Shouldn't that foundation be laid before they get into more esoteric things? I know that's traditional and old school, but we're getting medical students who don't know what a normal exam is, and we're showing them a kid with aplastic anemia. I don't think that's the right progression.
I think that you raise an interesting point, and where I will speak mainly for my group, but we would love to see the students come through our clinic more, because I think that you build more of a relationship, and we can assess their progression better than just 2 half days a month. And it's feedback that I'll take back to Dr. Beard and colleagues. But I think that they look a lot at the questionnaires that the students fill out, and one of the things that's come up is subspecialist. So,
Michelle?
Yep.
This is Donna at 69th. I was just also going to add to that, the time frame is a little bit challenging, and you guys probably recognize that too. But they start in April and end in December, so they really miss the winter illness months. So that's probably why they're commenting that all they're seeing is well visits, because that's really all we're doing all summer long. So I didn't know if I know that would be a challenge to change the schedule, but April to December is not good illness time.
Yeah, thanks, Donna, and Tracy passed that along too. At this point, I don't know that we have any control over changing the schedule. I think that that's an excellent point. I think their hope was when they start their mini blocks in February, that they would be exposed on the inpatient service to more of the bread and butter peds bronchiolitis, and then maybe catch some of that in the LAC, but your point is well made.
This is Laura. I don't see why you can't have both, but I remember when I was in pediatrics, the chair had said one of the ways to learn medicine is to approach to a complicated patient. And if you see a complicated patient, you learn a lot. And so, I can see why they want to see some rare things as well. And you can learn a lot, even if that's not what you're going to be seeing all the time.
Mm-hmm. For those at the remote sites, Dr. Keppen just said that you can still learn a lot from a complicated patient, and so having both is a good compromise. I think that the take-home point is this is not the traditional medical school curriculum, and we are still trying to find the best way to educate our students in pediatrics. And if anything, I think the huge part is thank you to the faculty for sticking with it and staying involved despite the frustrations. And we'll keep fighting for more pediatrics and get them as much exposure as possible. I would not say that peds is way below everyone else. We're very similar to internal medicine, and I'm looking at Dr. Reuter to correct me if I'm wrong, but family medicine I would say they get the majority is family medicine, but then that's also split with OB, surgery, internal medicine, pediatrics, neurology. Yeah, neurology is half a day a month. So, and psychology. So family medicine takes the majority of their time, and then split between internal medicine and pediatrics, and then filter down to OB-GYN and surgery.
Family medicine has a half a day as well. Like they may have each year they have a 3 or 4 week block where they go out to a rural area and try to teach everyone that rural medicine is for them.
Yeah, we have to face the fact that the mission statement of the medical school is primarily focused on family medicine.
The one part that I haven't mentioned, and you may or may not be aware of, but students have what is called white space time. So 3 to 4 half days a week where they have white space, which was originally designed for them to take advantage of that time and spend it in clinical venues that they were interested in. And that is still a work in progress as far as how do we account for that time and where are they spending it. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Joe, did you have a report for the residency?
I love this slide because it's an ongoing statement that the Michelle I do not age, whereas the Joe I do. Okay, we did, Dr. Maher did announce that the residents, all of the residents have passed the boards. And that's really a tribute to the faculty who do the teaching and the attendance at morning report, at noon conference, at the wards and the clinics. And I really thank you all for doing that, because without you, the residents wouldn't have been so well prepared for the boards. And also part of that is success is the test taking workshop, which we've had every year. And this year it'll be January 31st and February 1st. So the third years will be excused for those 2 days. It's a Tuesday and Wednesday, and it's only about 3 weeks from now. So that's coming down the pike. Interview season, well, we had 78 invitations. We interviewed 61 people, and we will discuss those 61 people at our rank meeting on January 24th. It is a Tuesday evening, starts around 5:30. Sandwiches will be provided. Everyone is invited to attend, and it is a good, productive meeting, and it usually lasts about 2 hours. So to give you an idea, 5:30 to 7:30, maybe 7:45. So please come if you're interested. It's a fun meeting, and it determines the people you'll be teaching later on. And finally, graduation dinner has been set for June 3rd. That's the first Saturday of the month of June. Will be held the same place as held before, the Sanford Center. But if that new foundation building is finished by then, I will push to have that venue there. So that's my report. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Is Joe Sedulon here? I thought I saw him. Okay. Okay, thank you. So no report for the Children's Hospital. It's time for Dr. Michelle. She blinded me with Science Bach and the research report.
So sorry that this is actually a report from 3 months, but I didn't want to leave anyone out. So we'll kind of just go pretty quickly through some of it. Oh, go away. Okay. So there were quite a few grants in the last 3 months. Thane Muntz actually received 2. And we're excited for him to start working on both concussions and then for multiple sports. And so he's growing his athletic health research division, and that's kind of nice. He's hiring people, so it's fun for them. Dave Pierce also received an NIH grant to study a novel treatment for Batten's disease, which is another genetic disorder that we already have one in clinical process of test to cure with nationwide children, but now there'll be another. And then Kyle Rue received a collaborative research award for his bio-ID in looking at neuroblastoma. Jill Weimer also received an R01 supplement for sex-specific differences in novel mechanisms of distal transport in the developing and mature neurons. Zhenning Tao co-authored a paper with his hypoxia mimicking nanofibrous scaffolds. So we're doing a lot of regenerative medicine and trying to build models that will be more applicable to healing and repair with stem cells. He also had an in-depth review on the genetic mechanisms of bone cancer. And then Peter Vitiello had a publication on his thyrodoxin-1 interactions in free radical biology. Dave Pierce and Attila Kovac had a publication in metabolic brain disease. Kyle Rue had a very nice review, an invited review in a chapter in the Trends in Cell Biology and how to use his bio-ID technique that he developed. And then he also co-authored a paper on the mammalian link complex in substrate rigidity. Amy Elliott and Jyoti had a nice, and all of the PASS network together. You've probably heard about the PASS study, which has been ongoing for several years. They've now completed their PASS study, and they are putting together massive amounts of data and publications. And so they had 2 major publications. One of them is about a short questionnaire to assess dietary habits in pregnant American Indian women and what they found about their diet. And then the other one was about the serotonin receptors in the medulla oblongata in infants who died of either stillbirth or SIDS. They found that some of it may be related to the serotonin receptors. They also had another article that's the same one. Sorry. There were several awards. Kyle Rue received a Blue Flame Award for having a repository to use and develop plasmids for his bio-ID technique, and Lance Lee also had an award for a poster that he gave on PCD. There were a lot of invited presentations, and so I'm just going to kind of just name them, and you'll be able to go back and look at these as you'd like. Jill and Mike Coretta gave very nice invited platform presentations at the SDSU Biomedical Research Symposium, where 60 of us attended. It was a very nice conference. Jill also presented at Boston at Harvard, and Lance Lee presented in Storm Lake, Iowa. Kyle presented in Jackson, Mississippi. Kamesh presented on his kidney disease at USF for a class, and Pete Vidiello also presented in Utah, the Brigham Young University. Amy Elliott presented at the University of California, San Diego. Thane Muntz always has lots of talks. His most interesting, he did grand rounds at Rapid City Regional, and then he also gave a talk at UNMC. And then he and Kevin Francis both also spoke to the Coders Society, which is kind of an interesting step out. We had lots and lots of conferences. So Dave and Jill attended one in Boston where they spoke. Indra attended and Kamesh both attended the American Society of Nephrology meeting. Jenning Tao, the Bone and Mineral Research Conference, and most of them presented there. Pete Vidiello also presented at the Redox Biology in San Francisco. Jill at in San Diego, and also in New York. She's been really busy this year. And Hao Tian, he presented at the Neuro-Oncology meeting. More conferences. We'll just skip those, but I think one of them, Kyle, as you know, Sabi presented and won an award for his presentation at Midwest SPR. Jessica Hansen and Jyoti and Victoria Gray always have very many conferences and outreach and presentations about their work with the Native American and American Indian population and supports for them, including identifying chronic disease prevention techniques and the after-school program, and then drug and alcohol addiction, new and novel ways to help with drug and alcohol addiction. And Kyle received a patent. We have lots of people working on patents right now, which is kind of a new push that Sanford Research has had. They're identifying, individual techniques that each of our labs are doing and applying for patents. So Kyle had some new antibodies for his technique that were patented. We have several upcoming events. The Collaborative Research Center for American Indian Health Summit will be in April. Just so you know, if you ever have students that are interested in doing research, especially undergraduate students, there are 3 programs, but SPUR is the one that's most common, and applications for any of you who have kids or friends that have kids that are interested in getting paid to do 10 weeks of research that also counts towards college credit. It looks very good on your applications for college and medical school. You can actually, that application deadline is February 10th. And then many of you know the Pediatric Academic Society meeting is in May 6th through the 9th, and I'm very happy that a lot of residents have submitted abstracts this year. I think Teresa and Kyle and Jada. Okay, any questions? Okay, sorry it was fast, but lots. There you go, George.
Thanks, Michelle. Okay, on to new business, faculty development, including the following. We're still looking for primer articles for South Dakota Medicine. We had one in HEMONC, and ID and neonatology have both, neonatology's had 3, one for ID and one for HEMONC. A reminder that if you're going to Rapid City and you want to do grand rounds, there's contact information there. There's also a modest honorarium involved. We have speakers scheduled for grand rounds through May, thanks to Betty's efforts. A reminder that if there is a speaker you would like to bring on, please go through Betty, because the financial end is a bit tricky, but we do want to hear who you want to have speak. The Scholarly Activities Board is outside Jen's desk there in the hallway, so if you've published something or presented something, please give it to her so she can display it and your colleagues can read it. Pediatric Writing Group currently on hold. Jody Huber is still facilitating that. There is a SharePoint website available. So you can contact Jody if you're interested in that. There is also a writing workshop through the medical school. I think they're still meeting once a month, and the contact information is displayed there. Doctor of the Day, this is where you travel to Pierre and run basically the clinic for state legislators and employees. So if you have a bone to pick or an axe to grind, that's a good way to do it. You sort of have a captive audience when they're on your exam table, but the information is there. People who've done it said it really is a lot of fun and very enlightening. I haven't done it yet myself. Leadership and Management Foundation for Academic Medicine and Science, accepting applications for the 2017 program. This is targeted at the associate professor level, program directors, division chiefs, administrative leaders. The goals are as listed there, and contact information, I think, is through Deb Valentine or Dr. Chatterjee. There is some funding available through the medical school if you're interested in that leadership seminar. South Dakota One Health Working Group Seminar will be Wednesday, January 25th here at the medical school. It's an all-day affair, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, sign-up information is, I think, listed there. Or not. You know, who do they contact for that? Anyway. Okay. Thanks, Susie. There is a perinatal, neonatal, and women's health conference March 30th right here at Schroeder, 8 a.m. to 4:30. Contact information, Karen Wingler, is listed there. Conversations on medical student career advising, April 6th. Dinner from 5:30 to 6, and then 6 to 7:30 is the program. I don't know who you contact for that either. I'm sorry? Tim Ridgway at the medical school. He is the Dean of Faculty Affairs. The Senior Dean of Faculty Affairs. Eastern South Dakota Research Symposium, Wednesday, May 31st at the Research Center. More details on registration will be available soon. Again, Joe Zettel referred to the pediatric residency graduation, and there they are, somewhat more out of focus than they were when they started, but that's the way it goes. The Black Hills Pediatric Symposium is slated for June 23rd and 24th at the Lodge in Deadwood. That's always fairly well attended and a very interesting conference in a beautiful setting, so keep it in mind. Good way to get CME hours. That's all I have. Is there anything else? Comments, questions from our off-site attendees? Anything? And that's it. Thank you.
Jill is really good hitting the car.